And joining us now with his view is ERCOT's President and CEO, Pablo Vegas. Good to have you this morning, sir. You know, I think it's safe to say you stunned a number of people early in the summer when you significantly increased your expectations of demand for the power grid in your state. Why did you have that increase, and what was the metrics sort of behind it that led you to these numbers?
Good morning. It's great to be here with you. So what happened is there was a piece of legislation that was passed in the 2023 session here in Texas that essentially opened up the doors for us to be able to evaluate all of the expected demand that's expected to come to Texas. As you know, the Texas economy has been absolutely booming and growing over these last 5-10 years. And the growth in data center, artificial intelligence data centers, it's happening here in Texas as fast as it's happening anywhere. So with this new legislation allowing us to look at every potential growth vector across the state, all of a sudden that growth picture went from where we are today. We'll peak this year probably around 85,000 megawatts. We thought we would be at about 110,000 megawatts by 2030. Now we're seeing that being closer to about 150,000 megawatts by 2030. So like you said, 75% growth in demand, which is incredible and reflects the great economic growth potential that we have here.
Yeah, of course. We talk a lot here about the growth of data centers overall, given generative AI and the power needs for them. I mean, are you going to be able to meet those needs in your state?
Yeah, Texas is uniquely situated compared to some of the other grids where the ability to interconnect power generation resources and large customers like data centers can happen much faster here in Texas than anywhere else. In fact, Berkeley National Lab just this year published an interconnection study that looked at what does it take to connect a resource in Texas versus everywhere else in the country. And on average, over a year faster, you can connect power generation resources here. So we have a queue that's got over 350,000 megawatts of interested generation wanting to come online. A lot of it is solar, a lot of it is batteries, but we also see natural gas and wind in there. And we're going to be able to meet this demand because we've got one of the most competitive energy markets out there. Supply meets demand, power prices drive that supply, and we're seeing that market force work here.
I know a number of the legislators, though, are very concerned that ultimately it's going to be the citizens of Texas who pay for all this in terms of significant increases in rates. If you are able to meet this increased demand, enormous increase, are rates going to have to go up to do it?
Well, the good news about having to build infrastructure in order to meet growing load, growing demand, is that the way it works here in Texas, we allocate the cost of that infrastructure to the customers, as you know. So what that means is these new customers that are coming online, these new data centers, the generative AI, and all the industrial growth that's coming, they're going to pick up the lion's share, have to pick up the lion's share of this infrastructure investment that's going to be added to meet them. And then the supply and the demand, those will get met. We're going to be able to meet that growth, and I think it's going to be done in a fair way for all consumers.
So you don't seem concerned overall?
Well, I mean, it's always a challenge. When you see the kind of growth that's ahead of us, it's always a challenge to make sure that we can, ensure that everybody's needs are met at all times. But I really do believe that we've got the kind of processes that are going to enable us to rise to meet that growing demand. I do believe that we've got a fair allocation process for the way costs are shared throughout the state. So I think overall, compared to what a lot of other regions in the country are struggling with right now, I think we're going to see it done pretty well in ERCOT.